I've talked before on this channel about fun tools for writers, and recently I got in a couple of them that, one of which is a sequel to something I talked about before, but the other one is brand new to me at least. And the brand new one is a thing called Writing Dice, created by a company called Two Tumbleweeds. And it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a set of dice, and you roll them to generate story elements. For instance, when you want to generate a character, there are 4 dice, they're all green, each of which describes a different aspect of a possible character: physiological, sociological, psychological strengths, and psychological weaknesses. So at random here I have a woman who is witty, but arrogant, and is a member of a minority. I'm holding up the wrong side towards the camera, my apologies. And you could roll these dice and generate any number of different things from those 4 particular elements. There's a blue die here, which is the theme die. And for instance, the themes include things like justice, identity, love, loneliness. These don't have to be things that you confine yourself to either. You can roll these and say, okay, well, I don't necessarily want to use that, but I can tweak it a little bit and it would generate something really interesting, which is kind of the point. You're not supposed to have these things just to follow slavishly. They're supposed to inspire you. And the white die, let me see which one this is, point of view. So among them include minor character, outsider, alternating POV. That's quite handy, actually. There's a pink die, which is for places, which include foreign country, although foreign to whom, your hometown, urban, rural, things like that. The yellow die gives us a time, and this can include things like alternative history, future, pre-modern, or this one looks pretty interesting, medieval history. And we also have a brownish die, I guess clay-colored would be a better way to describe this, which is conflict. And the conflicts can include versus technology, that's a really useful one if you're a science fiction writer, versus self, that's one of my favorites, honestly, versus the supernatural, you name it. And you don't, again, have to be slavishly devoted to what the dice come up with. The point is that you juggle them, you throw them on the table, you see where they take you. It's designed to stimulate you. It's designed to get things moving in an open-ended way. I've actually seen much bigger sets of dice like this. I've seen sets of dice like this that have as many as 15 elements in them. But this one honestly seemed like one of the most useful and focused of the bunch, even if the dice are a little bit big for my taste. A while back, I talked about the Writer Emergency Pack, and I'm going to put a link to my earlier video about that down in the description. There is a follow-up called Writer Emergency Pack XL, and it's just basically a larger version of the same pack, larger in every sense. There's more cards, the cards themselves are bigger, and it's also that much easier to get results from the cards, because the original deck, you had to do this weird thing where you only went through, like, the first half of the deck had the cards that you were supposed to shuffle and draw, and the other half were ones you're supposed to pull. It was a little more complicated than it needed to be. They've reduced everything to just a set of cards, which you just shuffle and pull from. And so there's no ambiguity. Oh, I got this one mixed. The about this deck got shoved into the middle of it by mistake. So again, the idea is that you shuffle and you pull a card at random and you try to see how that card applies to whatever difficulty you're having in your story. So I've been shuffling this for a little bit now, blindly, below the camera, and I'm just going to pull out the top card of the deck and see what we see. And the top card reads, "Off the rails. We don't know where we're going, but we're getting there fast." I love that one. And the description for it is, every hero follows a path. It could be a yellow brick road, a compass heading, or simply where the river takes them. But if they're on rails, they're not making tough decisions. Force them to think about where they're going and how they'll get there. Getting derailed can be frightening for the hero, make them feel out of control or lost, but it could also be exhilarating, giving them their first taste of freedom. Try this. Where is your hero trying to go? List 4 roadblocks that could stop them. Floor it. If your hero had to move twice as fast, where would they cut corners? How dangerous would it be? On a normal day, what keeps your hero on track? What happens if you take that away? So you see how they try to have this multifaceted approach to each of these particular inspirations. It's not just about taking them on face value. It's about thinking about all the possible implications that could arise. I'll pull another card to see what you mean. This one is called "That's Not the Dragon." You thought that was the enemy? Nope, the real danger lies ahead. That's like the standard thing that they do now in action movies at the climax. They give you a fake climax and then they give you the real one. So let's see what they say about this. The best villains often hide behind henchmen and facades. Your hero might believe they've defeated the enemy, only to discover they're stronger than ever. Or perhaps, like the Wizard of Oz, there's someone pulling levers behind the curtain. Look for reversals. Can the supposed enemy be turned into an ally? Has your hero been an unwitting tool of a greater evil? Was the whole thing a trap, or just a delay? Even fake dragons have teeth. Let the bite count. And under Try This, we have Bait the Trap. List 3 things that could be used to lure your hero to danger. Picture the puppet master. Who could be pulling the strings? What would they gain by remaining hidden? How could your hero discover them? Heroes can have puppets too. Brainstorm deceptions your hero could use to confuse or delay the enemy. So I like how open-ended all of this is and how well thought out they are. They take each one of these things and they really try to unpack them. They really try to dissect them from all these different points of view. So once again, that is the Writer Excel Emergency Pack by John August, who is a screenwriter and whose work is worth seeking out. It is the sequel to the original Writer Emergency Pack. And the Writing Dice that I described earlier, and that is available from twotumbleweeds.co, but it's available easily on Amazon. And if you find yourself in a position where you want a little bit of a nudge from the outside, where you want to have something to come in and break up the ice in your creativity, try giving stuff like this a spin. The point is not to get an answer. It is just to get you moving. Sometimes it's just there to get you to ask better questions. Try it out. See what you think.